Hello my friends, welcome to Talk to Me Tuesday for Tuesday, February 25th, 2020. This is Jennifer. I got up this morning thinking I don't have anything to share, and then I started going over the last week and it feels like it was a month, but not a bad month. I have so much to share with you guys today. First, and probably most importantly, Quilt Con was in Austin this last weekend, and on Friday, Dominic and I rode the train downtown and we met Jennifer, our own playful piecing, and we spent the day together, about half the day together at Quilt Con in Austin, and it was amazing. We had a really good time. We just made all these circles through the quilts, and we circled the vendors, and we did a little bit of shopping. I only bought 2 yards of fabric, which I will show you. This is a Constellation fabric that's from Andover, and I got this to incorporate in my son's graduation quilt, which I haven't started yet because he's collecting t-shirts from high school and college, and he has not given them all to me yet. So he will be graduating in May and will be getting a t-shirt quilt, much like my daughter did when she graduated from college. I did do some sewing last week. First, I have this orphan block quilt on the wall, and I did post about this on my social media, so I'm gonna add some pictures here to show you guys what I did. So I had pieced 6 of these blocks. These with the white background, these are blocks that Rainey sent me I think last year, and there was a whole set of them, and I ended up splitting them up into a couple of different orphan block quilts. I had pieced 6 of them together, and I think I had started making a quilt top on my last day at retreat in November, and then I just didn't get any further than that. And I have a little pile of tops that says need borders. There are 2 or 3 in there, and that was in there, and obviously it needed way more than borders, so I put it on the wall, pulled some more blocks that I thought would look good with it, and rearranged those a little bit, and rearranged them, and then realized I needed to take those 6 blocks apart. So I took those apart. I squared all of them up to 12.5 inches, repressed them, put everything back on the wall. These little girl blocks, I'm not sure who sent these. I feel like I should know, but I'm not sure. I think they came from last year's orphan block collection. This one's been in my stash for ages. A couple of these others were sent last year during the orphan block collection, and then this border I thought pulled out a lot of the colors, and it was that was leftovers from a quilt back. Super happy with this one, and I have to stop now because I have my new encoders for my quilt machine and I need to install them, and I haven't counted, but I have probably a dozen quilts that need to be quilted. So I have a bunch of mine, and then I have 4 quilt tops that I made from the flannel quilt top that Barbara sent me. It was one big like jelly roll race type quilt top, and I made it into 4 baby quilts. So I have a ton of stuff to quilt, so no more quilt tops until I get some stuff quilted. At the very least, I need to get my March donations for Linus quilted. The other thing that I worked on, I did not share with you guys at all. This was sort of a project just for me. For years and years, you may have seen in the background of a lot of my videos, I had a sad looking little Raggedy Andy doll, and this is what Andy looked like. So he was donated to Linus years ago, was put in the Linus Mall, and there was talk of throwing him away. So I rescued him. I made a donation to the Linus Mall, and I brought him home, and I've had him for years. I've lost track. I actually went back and tried to figure out the first time I had him in my videos and stuff. No idea. When my room configuration was pointed that way, he was in the background quite often. Since I have finished all of my business paperwork, all of that's done, Sew Hooked is closed, all my paperwork's done, I finished our personal taxes, all of that's done. So I decided to do something just for me. So he was sitting on a shelf right next to my head, and I looked at him and I was like, it's time. It's time for you to get a makeover. It's time for you to at least make you some clothes, because he's been sitting around in a shirt for the last, I don't know how many years. I had measured him and I realized he was 15 inches, and I was like, oh, well, I'll just see if I can find 15-inch doll clothes. I haven't made doll clothes in years. I don't know if I have any patterns, and I started looking online for Raggedy Ann patterns. 15 inches is one of the standard doll patterns, and this pattern, which I have had for years, this was my grandma's pattern. She made the 25-inch dolls for my daughter when she was born. So I felt like I had to do this. I had to make his clothes, and I had to give him a makeover. While I was going through and looking for the clothing patterns, I found the 25-inch stuff. It was all cut out and folded. I found the other sizes all folded, not cut out, but I couldn't find the 15-inch doll clothes patterns. And I was like, where are they? You know, why would they not be in here? And so I turned the envelope upside down and I shook it. And this little wad of paper with a pin in it came out. Guys, this is one of my grandma's pins. And the 15-inch clothes, Andy's 15-inch clothes, were pinned together, already cut out, ready to make. And I felt like I got a little love letter from my grandmother. I can't even explain how emotional I got when I found this pin, in this pattern for exactly what I needed to make. So I got to work fixing Andy up. I repaired his face. His little cheeks, like right below his mouth, had just been loved into holes. He had a lot of little holes that someone at some point had tried to put some fray block or something like that on. I patched those up. His hair was falling off and most of the back hair was gone. It was ragged. It was terrible. So I want to show you what Andy looks like now. I patched his little face. You can see this was a printed fabric. This is the back side of it. I actually tucked it inside and then hand stitched it. I redid his mouth because part of his mouth was missing. And traditionally you'll have a little space here, but there was some mending there and I just decided to stitch over it instead of leave it. So I made him some little clothes and I went non-traditional. He has puppies on his shirt instead of having the red check. And I had this awesome little fat quarter. Fat quarters, by the way, very good for making doll clothes because you don't need a whole lot of fabric. So I loved this little fabric that I used on his pants, and I want to show you his patches on his shoes. So his feet have faded so much they're more brown than black, and so these are, you can see the little patch right there? The light's not really picking it up, but in some places on his face I did like just a little stitching, like he's darned in a number of places. But I posted a picture of me sewing together yarn. And I had a couple good guesses. A couple people figured out immediately that it was doll hair. Jill said dust mop, which you're not wrong. It looks like a dust mop. I'm just going to rest him here. I wound the yarn around my hand about 10 times, just kind of loosely, and then sewed right through the middle. And I did that back to back to back. A friend actually said it looked like I was chain piecing hair. So that worked really well. And then I actually sewed it on. I made a long strip of that and I sewed one here. And then I just kept going around and around until, so they're basically rows of hair. And I just kept squishing it up so that it would be curly. And his little hat, let me show you how I did this. Because this is for me and I'm not going to be giving this to a child or anything like that. His hat is held on. I sewed a wonder clip into the inside so that I could just clip it in his hair. Put his little hat on and then it won't fall off. So anyway, this is my Andy rescue. This was just for me, and not only did I feel like I was communing with my grandmother who loved dolls and loved making doll clothes and did indeed make a Raggedy Ann and Andy for my own daughter, I realized that I used to do stuff like this all the time. And then when I started selling my quilt patterns and sending them to magazines and publishers and selling them online and doing classes and all that, I stopped doing pretty much everything but quilting. So I am excited to get to do a few other things that are just for me. This was just for me. There was no reason. I didn't have to do it. It doesn't do anyone any good except for me. And so I'm just really happy, and I've decided Andy will be my mascot. You can see where I mended his stockings right here. And maybe, just maybe, I'll make him a sister. Two last things. One, don't forget to stop by Fandom and Stitches tomorrow for the Kingdom Hearts quilt along. It is still going beautifully and Jeannie has done a great job, and I can't say that enough. So that is tomorrow on fandomandstitches.com. Also, there was a rumor, and I have no idea how it started, that Fandom and Stitches was going to a paid format, and that's just, it's a lie. It's not true. We're Fandom, and you can read more about that on our social media, and I will post something about it on the website as well. That's not going to happen. Everything is free. We don't have the licensing to sell any of these patterns, so we would immediately get a cease and desist letter. So you guys do not have to worry about us charging you to use our quilt patterns. The last thing is tomorrow is my daughter's birthday, and I just want to say happy birthday to her. So we've already had a little celebration, and she's already gotten her birthday gift from us because she has to work tomorrow. But that's pretty much it. You guys have a very wonderful week. Have a crafty week. Make something for yourself, and I'll see you next week. Bye.